So that was it. That was Splinter Cell Blacklist. Now I'm going to let the credits run while I do the review, so please bear with me. I encourage you to watch the credits because these are the people who have put a lot of hours into making this game. So no matter how much I like it, how much I dislike it, I always want to appreciate the amount of work that was put in. I am going to get interrupted by Sarah's voicemail in the credit sequence in a bit, so I'm going to stay quiet for a second.
Hi, you've reached the voicemail of Sarah Fisher. Leave a message after the tone, and I'll get back to you when I can. Thanks.
Hey, Sarah, pick up, please. It's me.
Dad, sorry. I'm kind of screening my calls right now. There was some shooting around here, and it's just...
I understand. I just wanted to let you know I'm going to be home soon.
It's over? It's really over. And you're okay. And Uncle Vic and Anna and...
And we're going to have some new scars, but we all made it.
Oh, God. That's so good to hear. I was scared, Dad. Everyone was scared.
Don't tell anyone, but I was a little scared, too.
Wow, now I'm really freaked out. But you mean it, Dad? It's over? No American dust?
Not this time. I need to make sure not ever.
Not ever? You're staying with them. It's a job.
You know I have to. But I'll always come back when I can. I'll always come back for you, kiddo.
Yeah. I know you will, Dad. I love you. I'll see you when you come home.
So I want to say a couple of things before I dive into the storyline aspect of Splinter Cell Blacklist. And first thing I want to mention is the visuals. The developers paid great attention into making every single level look pretty darn real. And by real, I mean in the context of the game. There was nothing out of place. The lighting worked really well. There were a lot of environmental particle effects that caught my eye, including the guards' animations, how they talked, how they behaved, how how Sam Fisher's crew worked together, how the Paladin looked, all of that. And I think that kind of adds a lot to how quickly the players can immerse themselves into the game. And that is very important in third-person games because it's generally a lot more difficult for the players to assume the role of the person that they can see, as opposed to first-person shooters in which, the camera is the player's eyes. I also want to note that the action sequences were pretty well scripted, and I liked the run and gun sequences with Briggs. I liked the kind of traversing on the flaming buildings and whatnot, running from explosions. Those are really cool. It's not really a Splinter Cell element, at its core, but it was still a good addition to an action game nonetheless. Which actually brings me to another point. I think the addition to action, although I was really resistant to it at first, I think it was okay. I think it was a decent, at least marketing move by the developers, and at the end, it created for a more exciting gameplay, at least to watch or to experience. Now, as a old school fan of Splinter Cell, the series, I feel that was a little too much action for a Splinter Cell title, but if it keeps going this way and they still make great games, I don't think I'll have too much to complain about. And finally, I want to give some huge props to the voice acting cast of Splinter Cell Blacklist. And I think some of the more remarkable performances came from Eric Johnson, Kate Drummond, and Carla Rota. And all three of these guys are actually new to the video game voice acting industry, but they have acting backgrounds, which I guess helped them do motion capture and voice acting at the same time. Now, Eric Johnson, who is the new face of Splinter Cell, he is the new Sam Fisher. Well, he is the new Sam Fisher for this game, at least. I think did a pretty good job. Considering that he had some really big shoes to fill because of Michael Ironside's phenomenal performance as Splinter Cell in the past many, many years, and his dedicated fan base, and Splinter Cell's dedicated fan base, and all of that, He came in as a new face, and I think he did really well. And I was resistant to him at first because I wasn't used to his voice, but I warmed up to it, and I think he has a lot of potential to be the new Splinter Cell. I mean, to be the new Sam Fisher. Kate Drummond as the new Anna Grimm's daughter, I think was also really, really well done. She had a different accent than the actress who played Anna Grimm's daughter before her, and I'm sorry, but I forget the name. But I think in her own ways, she portrayed Anna Grimm's daughter the way that the writers of the game wanted her to be portrayed for this game. And Carla Rota as Sadiq. I think, to be completely honest, I think he had the strongest voice acting performance in this entire game. So let's dive right into the story. Now, I actually don't have many critiques about the story, just because it's not an awfully creative story. It was just there as a placeholder for, I don't know, a story. But I do have a lot of critiques on the characters because it wasn't a story driven game. There was a lot of character work that they could have done to make it more interesting. So one thing I have a huge problem with was the lack of character development with everybody. Like, nobody developed in this entire game. And I guess that is somewhat acceptable given that it is an episodic game, or should be considered an episodic game, in which it's more like a TV show than a movie, because same characters, different places, different situations. So we gotta have consistent characters, as opposed to full-length features in which characters are expected to change and develop throughout the course of the movie into something else by the end. So given that, I think it was okay that none of the characters develop, but like, honestly, there has to be some kind of a change in the character for me to be engaged into their character. And I think there was an oversight that was not crushing, but I think it was still an important thing that the developers missed out on. And the writer actually tried to develop Sam's character, but in a really cheesy action film kind of way. So when Sam encountered the toxin or whatever, the chemical bomb that was about to go off, and he disabled it, he was like, I'm fine, but he wasn't, and then he passed out and said he caught him. So when that happened, Briggs came to save him, and Briggs held back a kill shot because Sam was in the way and he could have killed him. So Sam gets really mad about it later, saying that, it's about the mission, not about you or I. And that makes sense in the sense that Sam is an objective-oriented leader who is stone cold, and he's been a veteran of this field for many, many years. So when that moment happened, I immediately knew that at the end of the game there was going to be a situation in which Sam is forced to make a decision between mission objective and saving his fellow teammate, and he's going to choose saving his fellow teammate. Grimm's also does that too. She, in the middle of the game, after Sam escapes from Tehran, she goes on a drone strike and starts bombing things in the freeway. If you remember, we got to play as the drone operator when we shot missiles into the freeway. And that was a huge risk of the mission objective in order to save Sam. So when those things started happening, like, I knew where the story was going. I knew what they were going to try to do with Sam Fisher at the end, and they did exactly that. Sam Fisher had a chance to do a kill shot on Sadiq, and instead of doing that, he stopped to help Briggs, who was fallen. And I think that's like a really cheesy way to try and develop a character, because there was no indication whatsoever that Sam was going to do that, other than that I predicted it. Character development often means change, but a change in character does not mean the character developed. And that is why I felt so cheated at the end, because I knew it was coming, and they did nothing. The writers did nothing to show that it was going to come. And I feel that cheapened the entire moment for me. But that happens in almost every single action movie with a stud of a hero who's stone cold and he's the veteran, blah blah blah. They always find ways for him to look like a big soft teddy bear at the end. And they tried, it failed, but they tried, and I guess I have to appreciate that. So one thing I want to make note of here, before the credits finish, is I still don't know what Sadiq wanted. Sadiq said he wanted all the American troops brought back home, but was the only way to do that to really start a pandemonium on American soil? I mean, is he a terrorist looking for reasons to kill people, or did he actually have this objective and the only way to carry this out was to make a bloodbath of a sacrifice of innocent American lives? It's really hard to know which side Sadiq is on. I mean, he's on his own side and he has his own mission to do, but I don't think we actually, at the end, know what he wanted out of all of this. I think he might have wanted something else, and I don't think it's fair that the writers held back on not telling us what could have very well been told with 10 minutes of cinematic or even 20 minutes of more gameplay. So it really just feels like a cheap setup to a sequel or a DLC.
Nice to see you up and around, Vic.
Nice to be around. Another week in that hospital and I would have killed myself by eating the food.
Did they treat you okay in there?
Doctors were great. The nurses? Oh, Sam, you remember that elephant you nearly bought in Thailand that time?
How could I forget? You keep reminding me.
Whoa, hold up a sec. You bought an elephant?
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I swear that elephant must have gone to nursing school. Because a guy in a nurse's uniform who looked just like him showed up and shoved a needle in my ass 3 times a day.
There's no way that elephant would have graduated by now.
Okay, you got me there, but... seriously, it's good to be out.
You sure you're okay, Vic?
Last time I felt this good was my second divorce. Look, after 2 months flat on my ass, I'm looking forward to getting back to work.
You got a project in mind?
Oh, yeah. Something high priority. Vic.
Whoa. I'm still playing?
Sam, I think
What?
Charlie's got some new gear he's working on.
Seriously, Grim?
That's eyes on.
Seriously, Grim? We're done though, aren't we? Should I call Sarah? What do I do?
Hey, Dad.
Hey, kiddo. How are you?
I'm alright. I think I just got rid of the last of the turkey leftovers.
Avoiding them was my plan all along. Things getting back to normal?
Slowly. Gas is still through the roof. A couple of airlines are in trouble. About what you'd expect.
But nobody's throwing bricks through coffeehouse windows anymore?
Not anymore.
Well, that's good to hear. Look, I gotta go, kiddo. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too, Dad.
Okay, this was unexpected. I don't know if there are more missions. I don't think there are. It doesn't look like there are. There is a new mission. No, there isn't. Campaign missions. Yeah, I think it's all done. Okay, it wants me to do all the side missions, and I will, just not on this. And if you want to check these side missions out, go buy the game and support the developers. And I think that is the best way for you to experience this game, because although you know what happens and you know how to play most of the levels, semi-proficiently, I think it's always a good experience to do things for yourself. Anyway, I think that is the end of the game. Wow, this was a really awkward place for them to put me in after the game. I guess it encourages cooperative campaigns and side missions. But it didn't feel like a complete end to me. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Whoa. Okay, what's a good place for me to end that? Let's end next to Briggs.
The data's corrupted. Going to have to scrub it.
Okay, well he wouldn't even. Briggs, can you look at me? I need to do an end. I need to do an outro. Briggs, please. Okay, there we go.
We're probably looking for ROK manufacturing.
Alright. So thanks for watching Splinter Cell Blacklist. I know it was a short campaign, and I didn't expect it to be this short,
Uploading progress.
but I think it was still pretty good, and I would recommend it definitely to anyone who enjoyed watching this. Alright, I will see you guys in the next video, and this is Anything Third Person signing out.